New at 5, Hawaiian Airlines' new no-show policy went into effect today. It says if a passenger does not board their ticketed flight, the airline will cancel their reservation, including layover and return flights. And the money or miles spent will not be refunded or available as credit towards a future flight. Hawaiian says if you want the value of your ticket credited to your account, let the airline know if you think you're going to miss your flight.